Roger Federer versus Lorenzo Sonego, round 4, Wimbledon 2021 review. If you have not watched the match and don't want it to be spoiled for you, click away in 3, 2, 1. So in the end, that was not very difficult for Roger Federer, 39-year-old man coming back from 2 injuries, having not played the game for 14 months. Big deal. The maestro has it in the bag. He won 7-5, 6-4, 6-2. The statistics are as follows. Roger Federer 4 aces compared to 4 of Lorenzo Sonego. 1 double fault for Federer, 2 for Sonego. First serve percentage 60 for Federer, 62 for Sonego. First serve percentage points won 79% for Federer and 66 for Sonego. Win percentage on the second serve, 65 for Federer, 44 for Sonego. Net points won 29 out of 46 for 63%, 10 out of 23 for Sonego, which is a measly 43%. Break points won 5 out of 15, making it 33% for Federer, while 1 was converted out of 3 by Sonego. Winners 32 for Federer, committing 26 unforced errors, while 23 winners for Sonego, committing 26 unforced errors, just like Roger Federer. 103 points won by Federer compared to 83 by Sonego. I will begin where I left off, and I will touch upon that aspect a lot more in this video. In the Djokovic video, I had touched upon the first set up until 5-5 advantage Federer breakpoint on Lorenzo Sonego's serve. It was 3-3 in the first set, and both players had barely engaged in any rallies. They were holding serve, and Roger Federer was serving well and returning horrendously. He was, I think, getting used to the quicker serve from Sonego. The Sonego serve was reaching upwards of 127, 129 miles per hour, which is faster than Federer has had to encounter thus far in the tournament. So he had not yet unlocked his muscle memory from his Andy Roddick, Ivo Karlovic matches in which his backhand return is ironically not tested as much because the lefty serve or the right-handed serve going toward the ad court to Federer's backhand, which is not absolutely a bullet, but especially with the case of the lefty serving toward Federer's backhand, the ball is curving away, so that typically challenges Federer more because it makes a steeper angle and more ground for him to cover. When it's bullet servers like Roddick or Isner or even Karlovic, and to a lesser extent Sonego, Federer has to remember that his block of the backhand and also the body serve has to be a little quicker, so his reflexes had to be attuned to that. In the beginning, he was missing a lot of those serves from Sonego, making it easy for Sonego to hold serve. Federer's serve, on the other hand, was getting charged up as the first set went on. At 3-3, as I mentioned in the previous video, Sonego was broken, meaning Federer went up 4-3, and then he consolidated the break, making it 5-3 for him. In the next game, you would expect Federer to try to break Sonego, or at least that's what it would seem from a strategic point of view. If you're up 5-3, ideally you would try to break serve so that you can win the game 6-3 and then you come out serving first in the second set. It's a good strategy for building momentum. But Federer, when he was up 5-3 and Sonego was serving, he went into a complete mental blank, it seemed. Or at least he couldn't. His execution took a major drop. He went for completely blindly attacking forehands and backhands. He I think thought, okay, I have the break in my pocket, so why try during this game? And he handed 4 straight points to Sonego. So this score went from 5-3 to 5-4. Then Federer was serving for the first set. And for some reason, nothing clicked. The first serve was not there. The second serve was going in, of course, but Federer just lost concentration and his contact points were off and he was hitting the ball outside. He lost 8 points on the trot consecutively and the game was tied at 5 games all. Then 3 consecutive points on serve for Sonego, making it 11 consecutive points for Sonego. All of a sudden, Federer finds a second wind, not from a stamina perspective, but from his shots getting more crisper and him finally finding his range again. and Federer wins 3 points in a row, and then they both trade 1 point here and there. Again, the game of will Federer convert a break point, that we start playing that game again. But in the end, what finally worked for Federer was that rain happened, and rain caused a delay when it was Sonego's serve, but it was advantage Federer. Break point against Sonego, and rain intervenes, and the match is suspended until the roof on center court is in play. So I feel for Sonego in that situation because he was ahead 40 love, then Federer drew level in that game to deuce, but then Sonego had advantage. He could not get game point. Then Federer had break point again, and that's when the rain caused the delay. You should have some sympathy for the server, no matter who it is, because it's a very challenging thing to stop playing for a considerable amount of time. So it was a 15 to 20 minute break. So your body loses that warm up and you have to warm yourself up again and get in the zone of playing a tennis match. And all of a sudden, after your warm up is done, all of a sudden you are placed into break point and you have to win the first point after not having played for a while. That's a very challenging place to be. And it was evident enough because Sonego, unfortunately, one of his two double faults throughout the whole match came on break point, set point down, and Federer essentially a set point because he lost serve. Sonego lost serve, and Federer got that point, and then Federer was in a good position to serve for the set at 6-5, which he ended up doing. So that was the first set. Pretty average from Federer from a mental standpoint because he had every opportunity to win that set 6-4, if not 6-3. Anyway, we pick up on the during the second set, and Federer was in full flow. In the beginning, he was finding his forehand a lot more often, and it seemed that he was very intent on going to the net and trying to cut the angles and cut the points short, maybe to preserve his energy. I'm not exactly sure why he could have tried, but of course, you never know. It might also be that he's trying to change things up because Sonego does not have nearly enough weapons to challenge Federer. Sonego has a great serve, occasionally good forehand, and a somewhat stable backhand. But Sonego's net game was not really good, as is evident in his net points won percentage. Federer made it a point to hit good ground strokes, and his backhand was a lot more dependable in this match. Another thing that changed at the beginning of the second set was that Federer's returns got a lot better, unlike the first set. So the muscle memory that I spoke about in the first set, those got better. So he activated those rhotic serve returning muscle memory, and those reflexes were in play, and he was getting a lot more balls back in play in that second set when Sonego was serving. Federer just had one break, and he carried it through, winning the second set 6-4. Then at 0-0 third set, Federer was quick to break Sonego in the first game of the third set, establishing his hold on the match completely, and then he consolidated serve and broke again. Now that was critical for me, not just because he was going to win the match. Federer was most likely going to win the match at this point. There was hardly anything to mess up, but unlike the first set, when Federer broke, he was up 5-3, and Federer just did not have that concentration after breaking. When it was Sonego's turn to serve again, Federer lost focus. So I was concerned for the same thing happening in the third set after Federer had broken in the first game of the third set. 2-love. But this is where I think he's also learning and also rediscovering a lot of the confidence because he had grown more comfortable with the returns. And also, I think the roof closing always adds a bit of confidence for Roger Federer. I would like to go back and check whether he's actually lost any games when the roof has been closed. I don't think he has, but it was evident to me that his movement got crisper, his focus got sharper. But so 2-love, Federer breaks again, and he's employing a lot of cuts and slices. His forehand is coming alive on most occasions. The misses on the forehand, the shanks on the forehand are almost non-existent. That is worthy of note because during the first and also the first set of during the first round match and his second round match, the first set of the second round match against Richard Gasquet, that forehand was spraying errors everywhere, and that has gotten very, very infrequent now. The backhand is more dependable. Of course, to completely offer this exception to that statement, the entire match began with Federer not even hitting. I cannot call that hitting. He had the chance to play a backhand, and he very gently pushed the ball into the net, very clumsily, very nonchalantly, and just went about his way. So if you forget that, then you can say that Federer's backhand was a lot better than it was in the last match, and that is something that I had pointed out as a significant weakness, that the backhand can be just broken down. But Sonego, I'm not sure whether he actually tried to target the backhand much. Federer had a lot of free rein to take matters into his own hands and run around the backhand, hit the forehand into the critical corners, and just win the point from there. So Federer also tried a lot of chip and charge, serve and volley. At one point, there was also the saber, the sneak attack by Roger, in which he comes close to the service line before a second serve. He tried those things as well. Sonego was constantly under pressure, even on his second serves, because Federer was just there at the net, and he had to contend with the possibility of having to hit a passing shot through Federer or from by the side of Federer, and he just was not that good at it. So for Sonego, he has a good serve. He just needs to work on his ground strokes, make them more durable, and hit deeper, because Federer hardly, if ever, was forced to build a bit of a safety net on the backhand side. He was never constantly challenged on the backhand side. And whoever you are, if you're an opponent of Roger Federer, you have to try to do that. You just know that historically speaking, and keeping aside that 2017 and 2018 Federer, keeping aside that version of him, the backhand has always been the much weaker wing of Federer. Why would you not try to find holes in that game? Why would you not try to break the backhand down? Did not understand that part of the strategy from Sonego. In the end, it was a very clean third set. Serve and volley was working for Federer. His forehands, as I mentioned, were flatter again, and the errors were fewer on the forehand side, and he was able to dictate play. And in the end, he capped off a very convincing victory. Manic Monday was over. His next opponent, Federer's next opponent, be it Medvedev or Hurkacz, that match will resume again tomorrow because it was delayed by rain, and court number 2 does not have a roof, which makes me think as to why they can't just bring the match to court 1 and finish it on time. Why do you have to disadvantage these players who are going to play quarterfinal 2 days from now? Why can't the match just be shifted to center court or court 1? I'm not entirely sure. But we will have to see the outcome of that match to know for sure who Federer will be facing. If it is indeed Medvedev, then it would be an incredible test. And if Federer wins that match somehow, that would be his big statement that, okay, I'm back now. Because even now, I'm taking things as they come, one step at a time. Roger Federer has been tested a little bit, but I have not seen him against a real top player, and Medvedev, for all intents and purposes, is an extremely elite player. World number 2, finding his bearings on grass, having come from 2 sets to love down in his previous match against Marin Cilic. Medvedev is a scary opponent, and if Federer beats him, then I can start making some projections as to his chances to go even deeper, whether he'll win his semifinal, whether he'll win his final, or has any chances to do so. That'll depend on his match performance against Medvedev. If Medvedev wins his 4th round match, and then the quarterfinal is a reality. Let's see how it goes. For now, good news for Djokovic and good news for Federer. Both have relatively smoothly, easily coasted into the quarterfinals, and it'll be a very good couple of days of rest for both of them, after which they'll come out all guns blazing. Until then, this is Duncan Lievi, and I will see you for the next video. Cheers.